You came and you danced your way along power lines, through the arms of trees, over the shoulders of housetops. You came running with your huge glowing face, and everything alive turned golden. You came and you spun your web of gold across the red earth, dipped every landform in a golden name and gave it a note. You came out of the womb of the earth, singing your rivers of gold, dancing the earth into beaten gold and laughing. You came on lilting waves and woke up, called up out of the singing ground this strange dream of a city. You came hungry and found gold in eyes and in creek beds that flowed with the clear, bright love of a mother weeping. You came with gold tongues, rolling golden languages that shifted and moved down rivers and formed into a solid grid of light, conducting loves and longings under creeks, under streets full of wheels, full of hearts. All hungry, all talking about the mystery of your dancing eyes. You came and you dug gold tongues out of the living earth, went away, brought back salt, brought back silence. Look at that mother keening held by your gaze, my dancing love riding high over the city. Look at these faces, these eyes that shine for you before this dream wells up. Look at these black streets, wet with gold, full of black wheels and black speed. Look at this square place, aching with square screens and round eyes that forget how to look at you. Look at them rolling, my round-faced love, trying to get somewhere as full of gold as you, weaving webs to catch light, to feed their hunger. Look at the earth, whose cry is the roar of a mother birthing another huge golden child who will never breathe with her, who will never sing with her. A mother who wants to fling herself into the arms of the rising ocean, a mother who has had enough of being burned, who is hungry to return to salt, to silence. Your silence comes and settles on this dream place spun from golden words. Look at you, my love, my golden dancing love, who builds up cities just so they can hold you, so you can glide through them, burn them with your gold, my cheeky love, who pulls the whole world along on the tides of his hunger, who drowns everything in a sea of gold. I'm Kendra, known as Lady Longdrop. I have been based in Melbourne for just over a year now. I'm back here. I was born here, but I've lived for most of my life in Queensland. I grew up on the Sunshine Coast, spent a bit of time in Brisbane, and now I'm very much loving living in Melbourne. Really, it's been the poetry community has been my kind of anchor, and I really fell into that immediately when I arrived. I think, I came along to a few poetry events, and one that particularly I kind of felt, wow, the energy here is great, and something that I'm really excited to be part of was the Voices in the Attic crew. I was already involved in writing and performing poetry. That's been a core bunch of peeps. There's this key thing that's come out in thinking about Melbourne. It's a community, it's a city that talks to itself, and there's this feeling of a conversation between people, between ideas, between sections of the community, a friendliness and an openness. That's Melbourne to me. And my identity is kind of very much formed in an outside of city environment. So there's the conversation between rural and urban, but also I guess as that identity of being very much, I guess, biologically a product of a white Australia policy, but also someone who's been here for a while, I kind of feel like, okay, by now, my family embodied in me really has a responsibility to step up and get a grip and a handle somehow on what our responsibility is in relation to this country. And part of that in a contemporary context is the relationship between the land, the landscape, the Indigenous spirit that's here and Indigenous people that are here now, the global diaspora that's here in a city like Melbourne and our connection with what's going on everywhere, there's a lot to think about that, and there's a lot of fuel for writing in all of those things. Yeah, trying to understand, trying to tune into what's really going on beneath the surface is a theme for me. And so when I think about a cityscape, I'm thinking about what's going on underneath, and I don't just mean literally, and underneath is getting fracked. And so there's that kind of physical underneath and concerns about that, but also energetically what's happening underneath, and what about the sacred earth that's under this concrete, and what's its story, and what's it trying to tell us. The stories that are bigger and longer than a city, but then a city like this, it's such an extraordinary thing, like where does that come from? It's that sense of the friendliness of people in public spaces in Melbourne, the openness that I've experienced as a visitor and especially in the last year living here, that the conversations that you strike up on a train or a tram or in the street or in a bar or a cafe with people just because people are open to that. Yeah, it's that connectedness and the openness of people to connection that makes me really feel a sense of home here. For me, poetry is a state, it's a meditation. And I think for me, my writing process tends to be, the first thing is gathering all these ideas, and it's the conversations with people that I can really kind of nut out, okay, what's important to me, what do I really think is beautiful, and what do I want to write about? And that all kind of goes, that's all like material that goes into a compost. And then it's finding that state and that space and then just seeing what emerges. And sometimes it's something that's a complete surprise, often. And that'll be the bulk of a piece, and then I might tweak it a bit. Often it'll be not it, and it's just something that goes into the compost pile again, and the ideas come and cycle back. So that's sort of my process. And I suppose for people who are wanting to write, read good poetry, to be infected by a way of seeing and infected by that kind of vulnerability to beauty. Think about what you want to write. Talk to intelligent people about it. And don't just read poetry. Go see dance. Go to the gallery and look at beautiful paintings. Get your aesthetic senses awake. And then just chill out and don't put any inputs, like just go for a long walk. Just breathe. Just turn your phone off for a couple of hours. Don't expect anything. And then just sit down and just check in with your body and just feel where the energy is in your body. Take a deep breath. Pick up your pen and write whatever comes out. It'll be there. Something beautiful will be there. Writing is about building a compost. You put it all in and then you leave it and you let it brew, and the magic happens in the dark. That's where things break down and create a space where something good, that something really beautiful can grow out of. The effort is in creating the compost. And then the effort is in standing back and letting it grow and not pulling it out and deciding it's a weed before it's, ready to bloom and give fruit. So, yeah. Get gardening, guys.